Hello, I'm going to start our beginning of November garden tour with our chickens. This is their last day in this run. We went ahead and opened the door so that they could mosey on over to the other run. And so we're not going to let them in this run, and I'm hoping that it will grow a little bit more. So we move them over to the other side of the coop into this run. Move their water and everything. It has lots of grass. This grass is all about knee-high to the kids. And then there's also more. I've shown you this run before, but there's more back there in the mulch. So this is not the whole run. This is probably half the run. And then the other half of the run is through a little corridor there. You can see there's mulch and just kind of wooded area. So they have many options in this run. So today I cleaned out the coop and I spread all the wood shavings on the garden. I'll show you that in a minute. I went to the lumber yard and picked up a whole bunch of wood shavings to fill the coop with. So they're set for the winter. Okay, on to the garden. So we're starting to clean up the garden. If you see anything that looks dead, you just know we'll get to that in the next couple days. This is the sweet potato patch, and you can see we still have a little bit more vines to clean up. We have some lettuce to clean up. These are some carrots that we'll be harvesting throughout the winter. Any of the light areas, that is where we emptied out the coop, and so that's chicken manure and wood shavings. And so I'm just spreading them around the garden. So I'm spreading them first where we planted potatoes. So we planted potatoes all there and all down there. In the spring, when we clean up the coop, I'll spread the wood shavings and manure anywhere else I missed. So since I'm over here, those need to be cleaned up, the flowers. I have some carrots and little bits of kale that never grew to the size I wanted to. You see back there, that's asparagus. It's doing really well. Oh, speaking of asparagus, what do I do with that? Am I supposed to cut those down, or do I just let them die with the frost? So if you know, please let me know in the comments. Okay, any of the dark mulch that you see, the dark wood chips, that was our June-bearing strawberries that I planted this spring. They spread like crazy, and then we just cover them just like Paul does. We cover them in the fall. When I cleaned out the coop, I spread chicken manure on here, and it'll sit for 6 months before the strawberry plants even start popping through. But you're not covering them deeply. You can even see. I mean, if you move this, they're strawberry plants. You're just covering them just so they'll lay down. You can see they're kind of popping through, just so they lay down. And then in the spring, whichever ones are the young ones or the healthy ones will pop through and do wonderfully. And whichever ones are the old ones that aren't strong enough to pop through, they'll decompose and just become more compost for the strawberries that were strong. So it is the beginning of November, and we still haven't had our first frost, which is really odd. We normally have our first frost at the end of October. So we still have, even though I picked a lot of our peppers, I'm keeping the pepper plant there so that, we can grow some more if that'll happen. So I left the peppers. We pulled most of the peas. I left my experiment of squash. And I'm not sure that these patty pan are going to get any larger than they are. And we never actually got any zucchini out of this plant. But it did bounce back for whatever reason. If it was because I planted the beans around it, or if it was just it needed some rain, I don't know. But the aphids went away. It bounced back. And it looks good considering. Of course, it doesn't look wonderful, but it is November, and I'm growing a summer squash. So that's pretty good. We need to clean up some of the fencing. It's been really warm this fall, and so we haven't had to cover any of this yet. And the cabbages have a lot of aphids, so I'm just going to leave them and see what happens. But I put some chicken manure around those, and the next rain we have, that'll soak in, and it typically will give it a boost. So anyway, I have some carrots that are doing pretty well that I just scattered. We harvested one of our broccolis, and here's our other one. We only got 2 this year, but since I know this works and it works well, I'm definitely going to be planting more next year. So here's the other section of that was potatoes that is now chicken manure. And then the goal in the spring is to cover it with a fine layer of mulch, just to keep, you don't want, if you've never done Back to Eden, you don't want the manure to be on the top. You want the manure to be on the bottom. Whenever you put manure on, you always want to put wood chips over it so that you're not encouraging weeds to sprout from it. So that is the goal right now. I am praying for wood chips, and I will show you why. We've used all of them. But back to the tour. Here is our other strawberry patch. These are our ever-bearing strawberries. We covered these with chicken manure and with wood chips. So that's to bed for the winter. Then our raspberry bed. I've asked people to come get raspberries, and only one person came, and she got 5 canes. So I don't know what to do with all these. I hate to pull them and toss them, but at the same time I don't know what to do with them. So I don't know. You can see the ones that have died. Those are the ones that have fruited for 2 years, and I will cut those down. And then I don't cover these with wood chips or anything. They do really well. They survive the winter. So, and since we haven't gotten our first frost, we are still harvesting raspberries. Now I can't see any because the kids came by and harvested some, but there's some. And then here I scattered some carrots. So I'm hoping we'll get some carrots in the winter, and then I'm hoping that at the very least, we'll get a jump on the spring with spring carrots. Right. One last thing I wanted to show you guys, our mulch area. There's just very little mulch left. You can see we tried to dig as best we could to get enough mulch to cover the strawberry beds. But this used to be mountains of mulch all the way to here. I mean, just tons. Asplund dropped off mulch 4 years ago, and then we've gotten a couple loads here and there, and then I would say a year ago, like August, our neighbors cut down a bunch of trees, and we got all of their mulch, all of the wood chips from that. Then we haven't gotten any, but I'm praying for more so that we can continue to cover our garden, because I absolutely love the Back to Eden garden method, and I'm so thankful for Paul. So if you ever get a chance to get any mulch, jump at that chance and start your Back to Eden garden. It's been such a blessing. So that's the garden tour at the beginning of November. Just cleaning up, putting things to bed, not doing much else, and praying for mulch for the spring. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.